In the last few weeks, Agnetha Fältskog gave us a new solo album. But is it really a new album? How does it fit with the rest of her 12 original studio albums? Today, I want to talk about every song track by track and in the end give you my overall thoughts about A+ as one entity. Hey! So, A+ is an anniversary project to celebrate 10 years of Agnetha's most recent solo album, A. Technically speaking, it's not a new album per se when it comes to the songs and compositions themselves. And yet, it achieves not to be just another reissue, not to be just the same again. It's an entirely new experience. All 10 songs from A were re-recorded with new arrangements, only keeping Agnetha's original vocals. So it is all familiar compositions, but it's a complete turnaround. Instead of handmade instrumentations, sweet strings and lush orchestrations, it is now mainly computerized, synthesized and minimalistic. I really liked the description of a friend of mine. A+ is a darker album. On this channel, we explored all the news and the creation about the album in depth, even together with Agnetha's friend and producer Jörgen Elofsson. And now, here are my thoughts. A+ opens with the one and only brand new song, Where Do We Go From Here? And conveniently, this is, I would say, by far the most positive song on the album. It's exuberant, happy and super exciting, a modern opening track and so much fun. In addition to the music, I really love the story of this track, the lyrics and the rhythm of the words. Outside I'm cold, but I'm burning inside. Impossible crazy, like snow in July. People keep talking, they keep passing by. The world could be ending, I wouldn't care why. One of my big favorite lines is, what if you could be the one that I remember when I'm old and grey and looking back at life? Coming from ABBA's amazing reunion journey with Voyage, Where Do We Go From Here? Is just a beautiful, coincidental title. In the context of this album, I liked an observation by the Frida fan. The album opens with the question, where do we go from here? And basically leads us straight to the answer on the next track, number 2, Back on Your Radio. And with this track, we are back with our familiar songs and compositions, but in new versions. So where do we go from here? We kind of go back to the past and then forward again into the present and future to experience a new shape and form, A+. Back on Your Radio was the most recent single from the album, at least it got an animated lyric video in early November. On A+, this song is really fast-paced and has a lot of joyful vibes. What I immediately noticed is that the first part of the chorus is slightly shortened, omitting the actual first title of the song. It's not the only time on this album that some elements from the original songs have been erased, and we'll come back to this later. Overall, I enjoy this tropical vibe of Back on Your Radio A+. But I don't really like some of the male backing vocals that echo back and forth, and I don't like the phone effect on Agnetha's voice. I love Agnetha's high harmony towards the end and the very long final note. I Should Have Followed You Home A+ was the first single we got for the new versions of the album. In hindsight, and being familiar now with the entire album, I'm not quite sure why this was chosen as a lead single to tease the new versions. Personally, I always liked this version and I still enjoy it, but I think there are stronger versions on this album with more exciting things going on, more variety. So was it chosen as a single because of the duet bonus? I don't know, but what I enjoy about this track is the easygoing vibes, a chill-out track, and I still think it brings home the nature of the song of being a pure duet. Their lead vocals are really upfront in this new version, and I love the a cappella bit at the end. However, for me, the intro of the song could have been more exciting. The intro to the next song is exciting, ominous. I am so surprised about Dance Your Pain Away A+. The new approach and arrangement works incredibly well for me. I love the auto-tune on Agnetha's voice, I always loved it, and in my opinion this works so well on this song in this version. I also adore the new male backing vocals. As with previous and other songs on A+, some elements were cut, and it appears to me that this was done for a more straightforward flow. It seems to be natural for this kind of modern approach. I want to play to you an unreleased bit from my interview with Jörgen Elofsson, in which he talks about this process.
Some of the songs have different keys, for instance, and in modern music you rarely change key. So when you do that, it becomes that's like a 70s, 80s, 90s trick, or Schlager trick, like changing key changes. But in modern music, they rarely do that. It's more like a just moves forward. But modern music have also simplified itself. So usually the same harmony structure in the chorus is in the verse. It just keeps moving. And so we've done things like that to treat the songs in different ways. Just moved away original chord structures and turned it into the new things.
This new version of the album was described as sleek, radio-friendly pop anthems with a consistent disco pop vibe. So before we witnessed the entire A+, I was kind of skeptical of how this would translate, especially for the slow songs. That brings us to the first one, I Was a Flower, A+. And who would have thought that this emotional piano ballad would also work as a mythical radio pop version? At least it does for me. It really works extremely well. There's a constant synth beat going through, everything is kept minimalistic, distanced, and Agnetha's pure vocals are right there up front. The new backing vocals, generally and mostly on the album, work so well for me and heightens this whole approach to keep the vocals front and center. I love I Was a Flower A+, and it's one of my big favorites. All tracks on A+ have also been rearranged into a new sequence. The flow from this song to the next works so well, and it's just one example of the overall flow on A+, which I think works really well. And that's just another remarkable quality about the album, because at the same time, the flow on the original album was also terrific in my opinion. Perfume in the Breeze A+ has a beautiful intro, and what a beautiful new version it is overall. Again, joyful. In the beginning I was unsure about the drum track in the chorus, but now I enjoy it. The fast tempo, the disco beats is very forward driven. And again, Agnetha's vocals are crystal clear. This is the closing track of side A on the vinyl version. Past Forever A+, the song that we've known as another ballad, opens side B. Now it has turned into a dazzling electro ballad, and again, like I Was a Flower, who would have thought it could work this way? Another one of my big favorites, and as I understand it, for some, even surpassing the original. I love the new synth sounds and the guitar interjections which increase the dramatic vibe of this song and of this version. There's an unreleased vocal bit at the very end which is very exciting. It can be heard on the old version but is deeply buried in the mix. And I love the sudden drum ending of this new version. Past Forever A+ is also kind of historic. It brings together Agnetha Fältskog with an old colleague of hers, Sweden's famous guitarist Janne Schaffer. This is his return with Agnetha after 4 decades. The last time he played for Agnetha was for her solo album in 1975, and he was one of ABBA's main guitarists. He did not play on Voyage, so it's wonderful to see him back. The One Who Loves You Now A+ has a wonderful intro. Then it's surprisingly close to the original song. Structure, rhythm and tempo. Basically, it's less bombastic and much more minimalistic, especially in the chorus. And again, for me, that works wonderful. The minimalistic backing track continues to bring Agnetha's vocals more upfront. It's crystal clear. Speaking of minimalistic and defining minimalistic, this, Bubble A+, is one of the big highlights for me on this album. This track is even more isolated now, more intimate, more dreamy. I love the new sounds in between verses and chorus, the amazing saxophone bit, and I love the backing harmonies adding to it. The dreamy vibes, Bubble A+ is a pure Agnetha song. When you really love someone A+, I was hesitant in the beginning, but this version is beginning to grow on me, especially the verses. I still feel that the upspeed does not work on the chorus for me, and I'm not so sure about some brief high-pitched backing vocals. But I understand the approach, and I really like the verses on this song, and these saxophone sounds at the end. Very unusually, this is the only song on A+ with a fade out. I don't know if this was a deliberate decision, but to me it kind of feels like an indication of the end, in anticipation of the following final song on the album. I keep them on the floor beside my bed. A+, Agnetha's own composition, is fittingly and deliberately still the closing song of the album. Before A+, I always liked Agnetha's own song, but I always wished I would like it even more. But now, finally, this new version is mind-blowing to me, and exactly how it should be. It's now a haunting lullaby. The song is darker, slower, more melancholic and thoughtful. The piano, the screeching strings, the distant drums and whistling, some saxophone bits, it all makes for a beautiful, captivating soundscape. I love her voice, it's upfront and reveals some heartbreaking moments that I never noticed before. The track has an amazing ending with a very long note. At the very end, it's a lingering and fading sound which matches perfectly with the fading intro of the opening song. That flow allows you to start all over again right away. And for me, this is without a doubt the absolute highlight of A+, together with the brand new opening track. These two are the strongest songs for me, and they work so terrific as a circling bookend. Where do we go from here? The most positive song at the start, and Agnetha's song, the most dramatic at the end. They both end with an existential question, and Agnetha still leaves us pondering, why is love so hard to understand? So having gone through all 11 songs track by track, I want to stress again how positive I experienced the flow of A+. It also flies by incredibly quickly, even though the album runs almost 40 minutes. When I talked to Jörgen Elofsson, he said something interesting. Music should be alive. Allow yourself to play with music. It got me thinking that you can basically compare this notion or this project with a performance of music or live concerts. The best artists continue to keep their music alive and interesting by rearrangements, by presenting them again with new life. For me, that is simply captured here on A+, on record, for an entire album. It's quite playful, but very artistic. That's why, for me, it's not so easy to determine if A+ is that new album or not. It's not just another version of an old album for me. It's so fresh and unique. It's something like an experiment. And experiments are always bold. For me, it worked intriguingly well. The overall sound is very coherent, relaxing, thoughtful, and kind of deep. A+ is a darker album with intricate new versions that, for me, really bring new life to familiar compositions. It's not making anything obsolete, it's not an improvement, and it's not a decline. It's a standalone. It's a celebration of 10 strong compositions of Agnetha's vocal performance presented in an experimental and unique project. I'm happy that I enjoy this album, the songs and the vision, and I'm so happy that we see and hear from Agnetha. So what do you think of A+? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, until then, hej då!